Friday morning. It is coffee morning, and we're going to be talking about what we've been up to over at Artisan Piano Services. We've been working with customers to try to move them into a new mindset when it comes to piano service, and not strictly tuning, but full maintenance and full servicing, and just kind of moving the overall direction of what people think of piano servicing into not just tuning. And that seems to kind of be the narrative of, oh, I need my piano tuned. Well, you really need your piano maintained and serviced. And so that's really what we've been up to. Stacy, how long have we been kind of pursuing that? I would say this has been a long-standing dream that we kind of moved into this point for maybe 2 decades for me. But we haven't actually made the actual movement until, how long would you say?
It's been about 2 months. We're going on 2 months. Yeah.
So it's been 2 months of beta testing, and what I mean by that is me being out in the field saying, okay, what services could we standardize? What terms could we use to explain what we're doing better? How can we approach these and present it better? And I would say it's been less than a week though since we've actually listed it on our website. So the first stage was, okay, let's figure out what services could we standardize? What services could be universal at every piano? Okay, we came up with several. There's cleaning, there's doing extra tunings, there's doing an appraisal, calibration, and lubrication. There's really five things that really any service call could kind of go into. And so, great, we have those. Can we figure those out and how to do them within a 1 hour block and how to make that happen? Yes, we figured that out. Next thing is, at the time of the service, would it be possible for the technician to recommend, and would this be something that the customer actually wants to do? Check. Yes, very much so. So then the last thing, second to the last thing, would be, if we offer this on the website, would people organically choose it? That has been the test of this last week, and that is absolutely happening and working. No issues. Repeat customers are organically actually choosing our express tunings because they think, oh, I've had my piano tuned in 6 months or a year. It just needs a tuning. Great. We've been having new customers choosing the signature service, that middle package, which is more work, more services. So we know that everything up to this point has worked, and now we're to the point of getting our technicians trained and on board. All the technicians are on board. Now it's to the point of, can we get them to embrace it and actually do kind of this method? And so what we're doing right now is leaving the technicians still at their 4 a day, but then as they get more comfortable proposing the other maintenance work to these customers and moving those up, then we can go ahead and move them to a 3 a day schedule. So that's kind of where we're at. Does anybody have any questions on any of that so far before we talk to Stacy, who's the boots on the ground about what we're doing?
Well, if Stacy could describe a little more on the appraisal, how you approach the customer, what do you say, what resources you mentioned, maybe using some resources, because you got to figure out a value for that. Just kind of talk about that process a little bit on that add-on.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be valuable. I'm like, yeah. Okay, so here's a few, where do I start? David had the brilliant idea of doing a blast last fall, right? And just offering an add-on for if they schedule a tuning. Normally our appraisals at the time were $295, to go out and do an official written appraisal. And it was such a good idea to offer if we're already there, offer it at a discount. And David, I think you and I have done I think I'm at like 130 appraisals since October. You guys, that's kind of a lot of people adding it on. So, I mean, it was pretty successful. And then another thing I did, I'm just kind of telling you the whole like infrastructure of it. But the second thing we did is we would text Gazelle. You can have an auto text the morning of. So we'd be like, hey, if you're interested. Oh, what was the verbiage? It was like, you add on an appraisal today for just 100. It's normally 295. It's great for homeowners insurance, estate, knowing the value of your piano. And I would have people even get it from that text. They would tell the tech, hey, I want this extra thing, right? And then another thing I do, maybe I can share with you. I even at the end of the week, all of our techs are, when they go out, they always do an evaluation of the piano, no matter what. So what I do at the end, I'll show you. Maybe I'll just show you my screen.
Let's see it. I'm curious. I don't think
you don't know what I do. Just kidding. So, okay. So here's some I have scheduled because we have a lot of communication with our customers, but these are ones scheduled to go out this morning, right? So I'll literally be like, your tech Alan did a full evaluation. If you're interested, I can offer you appraisal on your Yamaha. And then I give them this, like, there's this little document on like, why should I get my piano appraised? And
I didn't know you did that. Good job.
I do that to everyone that well, okay. I don't do it to everyone. I don't do it to someone who had like if it's a really tiny little spinet that you can kind of vibe it out, right? So there's that whole setup, right? So we get like 2 or 3 a week just from that, which is pretty awesome. And then the tech, I'm hoping that if they see a piano that's like 5,000 or more, just ask the question, hey, you have to find out if they own their home. That's the good candidate, right? So ask if they own their home, if they have homeowners insurance, and then just be like, is your piano on your homeowners insurance? Because we could just do an evaluation and an appraisal, and then that way your piano's insured. And a lot of people just hadn't thought of that. And yeah, we do a lot. Do you have anything to add to that, David?
No, I think it's exactly it. It's getting, Stacy just kind of is able to kind of hit that low hanging fruit that, several 2 to 3 a week just with that. But the reality is if our technicians would just get more in that rhythm as well. And again, it's a new thing for the techs to really talk about. But yeah, anything over $5,000, and it's pretty easy to see, okay, this piano is worth probably at least $5,000. And just saying simply, hey, do you know if your piano is fully insured? That's the question. Do you know if your piano is fully insured? No, I never even thought about that. What does that mean? Well, usually we recommend having an appraisal done, and then you submit that appraisal to your insurance company. That way you can make sure that you're well covered. Oh, yeah, let's do that. Okay, it's $100 because I'm here. It's usually $295, but I'm here, so let's do it. That's it. So it doesn't take a lot, and it's just a simple question. I'm reading this really good book, and it's about really asking questions. We tend to just say things, assert ourselves, and it's just the best conversations are usually when you're asking questions. So that's what I'm trying to do more is just, hey, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts? Would you like? Asking questions. So that's it's really pretty simple with the appraisals. Then, Stacy, are you able to, when somebody says, yes, I would like to do that, just because,
okay,
what would be the next thing that you would do? And do you want to show the group an example of an appraisal?
Yeah, I want to also show one more thing. Yes, I do. I'm sharing the whole screen. Okay. So maybe I go like this. Okay, so can you guys see this, okay? This is like an example of what my techs do at the appointments. So this is the only reason this system works is like here, they put in the piano information, right? And the serial number. And then in these notes, they are going to give me a quick overview. I need some pictures to do these appraisals, right? So give me some pictures and then do an ABC of the condition of the action, the belly, and the cabinet. So I need all that information. We need all that to be able to do an official appraisal. So I did want to share that part too.
Yeah. And so typically what I'm doing is like, I'm using that dictation or that, where on my phone
voice
or
text. Yeah, you can just voice text that notes.
like piano overall great condition, no major issues, no imperfections, structurally it's sound, with the action, blah, 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 with the belly, blah, 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 with the cabinet, blah, 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 blah. And it's just able to put that in there. It's a quick note. And then Stacy has it for whatever she wants to do with it.
Yeah. And then after that, so let's say they do an appraisal. I always tell them, give us a full week, because that way sometimes I just need extra time. So that gives us some leeway. Always under promise, over deliver with the time on that, right? And then let me find. There we go. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's just a Google Doc that you can kind of fill in everything. So we'll put the date. I'll kind of prep it, and put in the notes from the tech. And yeah, we'll look up the year, a little of the piano history, and then overall assessment, right? And then this is the part that's really valuable, is that fair market value and new replacement value. And honestly, the new replacement value is really easy, guys. I use Piano Buyer. They have that whole, I don't know. I think it's just pianobuyer.com.
Yeah, I think it is.
And then you just go to the brand profiles and see what the MSRP is. I mean, in the stores, it's never going to sell at the MSRP. It will never. They will always have it discounted, but that is the suggested retail price of a piano. And so it's really easy if it's like a Yamaha or something that is still being made, because you can find at least you can usually find the MSRP really easy that way, or find your equivalent. The equivalent can get a little tricky. David's really good at that. So I've had so much experience. Like, what do you do if I guess maybe a good thing for these guys would be to explain, what do you do when the piano, and then we got to go into antiques too, right? But let's say it's a piano that isn't being manufactured anymore, and it's from like the 50s or the 30s, or, you have to find an equivalent comparable, because it's not being made anymore, right? So
my process there, I have a lot of experience working with retailers, just as Stacy did. I would say I was in the retail and sales, but I was more in the tech arena. But when you come across like 100-year-old upright or 100-year-old grand, this is a Bradsworth. At the time that these pianos were being made, there's hundreds of manufacturers in America alone building pianos. They're gone. And so, to be honest, it's fairly easy when I come to one of these 100-year-old uprights or grands, because I just say, this is an American-made piano. This was made with high-quality woods and parts. Today's pianos are really made of particle board. So we have a very big difference here. We have, cheaper Asian-made products, even Yamahas. They do have its press board, and it's a different beast. So I have these 100-year-old uprights that now I have to say, I need to find another I have to find another American-made piano made with solid woods, made with this quality level. Great. How many pianos are made in America today? There's really only 3 major ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's Charles Walter, there's Mason and Hamlin, and there's Steinway. Okay.
That's it.
Between those 3, what's the least expensive? Charles Walter. So usually I will go with that, unless the piano is very similar. If it's a really tall upright, and I'm like, okay, this is more like a K52 or what's the Mason's one? Is it just a 50? Mason 50-inch upright. So what I would say is, hey, to replace this piano is very expensive. This is a piano that was made in America with solid woods. Today, to buy something like that of equal, quality is quite expensive. And the closest to like and kind, that's the big term, like and kind. Closest to like and kind for this piano would be the Mason 50, would be the Charles Walter 1W175. And that was boom. Then we've just made our new replacement piano. Great, that's easy. So then from there, we see this 100-year-old upright that needs a lot of work. And what I typically do is figure out, okay, an upright is only going to be worth max at these stores. Again, you should go to the retailers and just visit and say, what are they selling these 100-year-old refurbished uprights for? $1,500 to $2,500. Okay, I'm going to tack on a little bit extra just because maybe this has some amount of, sentimental value. It's this. So I'll usually add a little bit more. But correct me if I'm wrong, Stacy, but don't we end the appraisal not with the estimated fair market, but the replacement value? So it's that high dollar. We want to have both these numbers on there, but we want to end it with that high dollar so that the insurance company sees that and is like, okay, we'll go ahead and insure it for that higher dollar amount to kind of cover our insured. So
exactly.
You could be asking the question, well, what's to stop the customer from just doing this themselves? And that's a good question. But the reality is, because they can't do that because they're not an expert in the field and they're not a business doing this. So I do need to preface all of this. I think that one of the reasons Artisan has been able to do this for so many years is because of maybe our the size of our company or the brand that we are, because there's a lot of, I would say, static around this concept of insuring pianos and being a certified insurer and things of that nature. There's really not, in other things that you have appraised, you can be a certified appraiser. You can have this documentation. There's really nothing made for pianos. And so what we've been able to do is say, you know what, listen, we've been doing this for the past 20 years. We work with retailers. We work with This is our experience. So keep that in mind. You could potentially get some pushback, Robert, if you're sending out all these appraisals and eventually the insurance company says, well, how do we know that this is worth it? How can we trust this? This is another reason we want to go ahead and create the Artisan Network, which would be something that we can help people, that are not necessarily Artisan Piano Services be a part of our network, which means that, hey, we know Victor, we know Robert, you can, toss them over to us and we can talk to them, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually, unfortunately, there's no official credentials that relate specifically to piano appraisal work, right? So it does have to be earned by experience. And usually I can just tell people we've been doing this for over 20 years. And, we have rebuilding experience under our belts and just working with retail, wholesale, lots of experience. So it's kind of a unique knowledge that you have of the market. Yeah. And it's interesting because my end has been on the retail side, especially like buying used pianos, evaluating what it would be worth I'm always lower from that side of it, because there's like the retail side, right, of a piano value. The piano store will see the value of a piano much different than someone doing it for insurance versus someone who's trying to sell it. It's just they're kind of different. I don't know, there's different pricing for different points there.
Yeah,
found. So
have you ever been denied an appraisal from an insurance company?
No. What usually happens is the insurance what usually happens is we never get denied, but when there is a claim and we go out to say, I just had this piano or my family piano just got ruined in a fire, so I'll go out there to appraise the piano and things of that nature, and I'll say, hey, replacement value on this is so high. Then the insurance adjuster kind of is like, wait, what? It's going to cost that much? I'm getting David or Artisan on the phone. And then it's pretty quick that they don't know what they're talking about. It's just not that hard. So they'll say, well, kind of maybe explain to you a bit of your process. And so I'm like, okay, it's not that hard. It's like, pianos are like this. Do you know very much about pianos? And do you know, no, I don't. That's why I'm asking you. Okay. So pianos, there's about 10,000 moving parts. Water, moisture, smoke is like cancer to it. And it's not simply something that you can clean very easily. So we need to go ahead and either fully restore the piano, which in this case, I don't recommend, or replace it with something that's new. Well, this isn't a new piano. You're right. It's not. But we can't find this piano. It's not there anymore. And so to get something that has this level of craftsmanship, because they built them back better in the day. And so when they start to hear all this stuff, they're kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
It's usually what happens.
Hey, David, on the insurance companies, do most of those companies want a separate rider for the insurance for the piano, similar to like artwork? Or is it usually covered as part of the regular, personal property stuff? Do you know?
So what happens is usually know that it's not, unless it's a very, very high-end piano, it's not a separate rider, but they will just up their personal contents. And so they'll say, okay, the personal contents I have is $100,000. I want to bring it up to $125,000.
Mm-hmm.
We have a rider on ours, and we've done contents.
Yep.
Our bassoons and other instruments, we had to go to a music store to get an appraisal to submit. But our insurance agent, when we got my Steinway about 7 years ago, she just said, well, what do you think the value is? She just asked me. Yep. I'll put it in for $65,000 for replacement. And I said, do you need anything else? Nope, that's good enough. So I don't know if some insurance companies just sort of ask you.
What's your insurance provider?
Do they always need some type of proof?
What's your insurance provider?
She's an independent, so she shops every year. So I might go Liberty one year and then Progressive another year, et cetera. So it kind of changes year to year.
I would say that most are not that way. Most of them are not like set the price. I'm very surprised that they were able to just take your word for that, because usually that's just not the case, especially with the big ones. When you have, I don't know, Farmers Insurance, some of the other big ones, they're more like stringent on that. So.
Well, that's good to know. That's why I thought appraisal. I thought you just told your insurance company insure for this amount, and that was good. But
yeah,
that makes sense.
I have a really good friend who's our insurance provider, and he's just hilarious and awesome. And so I talked to him like, well, what's stopping people from just saying it? He's like, well, insurance companies are cracking down on that, because imagine it, David. You have somebody says, yeah, I have this this random artwork right here that's hilarious, because it looks like a historic Victorian painting, but it has the pictures of it has like somebody blowing bubble gum. So this is ridiculous. I could say, hey, I have this picture, I have paintings, fine art worth $125,000. Can you go ahead and insure that? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then, oh, hey, I had a fire, it got swallowed up, I need that $125,000. It's just hearsay, And so that's why insurance companies overwhelmingly are like, no, I need some kind of documentation before we put this up there. Otherwise, we're replacing something that we don't know is actually of any worth or value.
Yeah, I've only had one issue that comes up every once in a while, and it has to do with Steinway, because Steinway likes to have like Steinway techs work on the Steinways, and Steinway certified, all the certifications for Steinway. So I do get asked that every once in a while, like they said it has to be a Steinway person, but I've never really had an issue of it like not working out. So yeah.
Kind of like when it needs to be, we need an RPT. You need an RPT.
Yes, very similar.
Oh, yeah. So.
Yeah. Does that answer? I mean, that's kind of how we do it. And then, we have to find the fair market value and put that on. And a lot of it is knowing what is it selling for in local stores? What is it selling for across the nation? What is it selling for just privately, locally in the area? All those things kind of factor into that.
Be sure to put estimated fair market value. You don't have to put estimated replacement value, because it's here's the replacement value. But usually estimated fair market value gives a little bit of leeway.
That makes sense. And having the Artisan label in a nice standardized form should add a lot of weight to that evaluation. And
yeah, it does. Yeah. No, I love it. I love how these can kind of go from, whatever topic to topic. I love that. It's just appraisals. It's a thing.
It is. It does add a couple, you get 2 or 3 a week from doing that. It does help overall in the end. And especially I would offer it to anyone who just got a new piano for sure. Yeah. Everyone with a new piano should get that insured.
Mm-hmm. Stacy, how's it going now that we have on our website 3 very different service offerings from what we've had in the past? Again, I've mentioned before, what we did at Artisan, which was different at the time 20 years ago, is say, hey, we don't just do tuning, we do all this stuff in our standard tuning, and boom, here you go. It's all this value. And so now we're saying, hey, we have a lot of value, but we're, instead of discounting our work, doing more work for less, we're doing less work for less, more work for more.
Yeah, good question. So it's been really fun to have so how I would book these tunings in the past is if I called and texted and they're not booking, usually I could send them like the discounted price, right? Like, hey, we could give you this much off. And that's how I was booking. I mean, a lot that way, right?
Can I give some perspective to that really quick?
Yes, do.
This is another reason to not set your prices super low initially. And to keep up with price increases. So you're probably still getting in touch with people that haven't tuned in. Let's just say, even if they haven't tuned in 5 or 6 years, they're probably only used to paying $150. So when Stacy's calling them, hey, you're due for your tuning, and they're like, oh yeah, how long has it been? It's been 8 years, 5 years. I remember paying $150, and now we're like, hey, it's $250. It's like, haha, thanks for reminding me I need my piano tuning. I'm going to go call so-and-so else. So that has been a thing. And that's why Stacy is like, hey, here's a discount. So
yeah, because I look at these customers and if it's been 8 years, it was like 170 or something, right? So I'm calling these people. So yeah, that's why that would work. And what I love about this now is I'm not offering discounts anymore. I'm just saying, like, oh, I just love this. Like, oh, if they're price shopping, I just say, well, if you just want just the tuning, I mean, the pianos usually need more than that, but if it's just tuning you need, there's no repairs, there's no, then it's just our, our $195. And then saying that, it just is so nice because usually they're like, well, I do have some sticky keys and actually I do have all this. I'm like, well, then definitely I would recommend from what you're describing, you just want to do our signature, our just signature tuning service. It'll cover all that. It gives us extra time. And they just they're like, yeah, okay. It's pretty, but then you still have that price for just tuning. And it's interesting. I've been watching every single booking, like what are they choosing organically? And even our repeat customers are still choosing, a lot of them are choosing that signature because they don't want just a tuning. Mm-hmm. And I love that word, just a tuning. I'm not trying to really, it's the pianos need more than just a tuning. And so we're starting to say that oh, you just want a tuning. And then the customer's like, wait, should I want more than just a tuning? Literally, it works so well, but it's true. I'm not messing with them. It's real. When you say just the tuning, they're
So you put it in as a question, in other words.
Yeah.
What's just a tuning, question mark?
Yeah, because if it just needs a tuning and nothing else, and then they start and granted, I'm just doing this oh, how far am I? A week and up, but I'm talking to a lot of people, but it gets them thinking well, what else does it? They really pause and think about that.
So do you do the silent pause after that?
Stacey's run down.
Let it hang there.
Yeah, it's
So you just want your piano to play mediocre.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm like, so all you want is a tuning, just a tuning. So there's nothing else. Like, you're they're literally like, well, what else? What else? Like, what else? What is the other options? And then another thing that works is we've been saying like our most popular one.
Mm-hmm.
I love that because then they're like, oh, well, I want what's most popular. So people I'm just saying, like, there's certain words you use and say, and there's this category of people who are like, well, I want what everyone else is doing because I don't really know what I want, you know? So, like, and I told David, it's like when you go to a new restaurant, you're like, well, what does everyone get you when they're here? Because I've never been here. And they're like, well, everyone loves this dish. And you're like, well, I want that one then. And you don't even know what it is.
You all have no idea.
Yeah.
How much wordsmithing and psychology has gone into this last 2 months. I can't even, literally the pricing of the psychology behind pricing. If you have a 5 or a 9, $295, $299, $195, $199, it is the psychology behind that is this is a deal, this is a discount, this is cheaper. So we did that with our first and last service, this express tuning. We wanted them to feel like, oh, this is bargain, this is bottom, this. So that's why we did $195. And so, but for our mid service at $330, when you have a round number like that, the zeros and that, it insinuates more of a luxury. And so we wanted them to see that in the middle with all the offering. Do you just want this? Do you just want that? Our most popular, all these things are cues that really they're all psychology, and to kind of put people to where they really feel like they get the most value, that they actually do what they want. Again, if somebody says, I just want a tuning, we're not going to say no, but we are moving everybody into maintaining their piano. So even if they're doing the express tuning, we go there just doing express tuning, the technician is recommending. So for the future, I really recommend that we go ahead and move. You're doing it once a year. Let's go ahead and just start doing more of a maintenance. We'll start doing more of that mid-level, what we call our signature service. That way we can adjust these things at every service. What do you think? Yes, that sounds great. Perfect. They've already scheduled for the next year, and next year is they're where we want them to be. It's
Starbucks does that every day.
Say it again.
Starbucks does that every day.
Oh, do they?
I mean, they sell the experience.
Yeah.
So you pay more for their coffee, but you get the experience of going in.
Yeah.
Very true. But yeah, and I even tried for like 5 or 6 days playing with the 195 versus 190 price even. And yeah, people like 195, it feels like it's under that 200 mark. It seems to be hitting this, like, at least where we are in Portland, like this price point where people are like, they don't say no because of price at that point. They don't, this is what's so cool. They don't say no at that price because of the price, you know? And that's what I was looking for. Like, where's that number where they're not going to go away because of the price? And that number hits it. By
the way, Stacy, I actually do think that we should lower the express tuning price in Seattle by $5. I think we should go $245 up there. So
yeah, okay. Good to know. I'm gonna do that.
Real time.
Real time. We're like pivoting real time, like literally. I know.
Well, so you know, like if you go to our Stacy, are you able to go to our tuning section of the website right now and pull it up?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
This is the kind of level.
Well, she's pulling up, I have a question.
Yeah.
As far as, I think you have a really good case for both the Express and the Signature, and you have the Premier to kind of give that high end of force things to the Signature. But is there anything that you do from a marketing standpoint to try to get those bigger Premier type packages out there?
Right now, it's still so new that we're really focusing on just even the concept overall. And so, yes, there are some certain things. So if you do notice in the Premiere, what we want to do is kind of help people see that as kind of a get the piano. If you had a Premiere service, you would have the calibration and lubrication services all done. So your piano would be check, done. It's ready for now the maintenance service. It's ready now to have the signature every year. So what we eventually want to do is say, hey, every piano we see out there should have this the first time we see it, this Premiere service. That way we're doing all these things, and now it's just maintenance after that. So long term, we would like to do that. And then we also have the bronze, silver, and gold packages.
Right. And so from a customer discussion point, you're kind of leading the Premiere being, hey, this piano hasn't been serviced in a long time. This is the recommended service for those pianos. Moving forward would be the signature or the maintenance, yearly maintenance, or pianos that maybe have been serviced within the past 2 years, but not last year type of thing. Yeah.
And another thing is you're going to come across, and I know we're going to come across this, where people will self-schedule. New customer hasn't been tuned in 20 years. They'll schedule the signature service thinking, okay, that's going to get it done. But our technicians may get there and be like, okay, it needs another tuning. I'm going to spend, I'm going to tune this several times. And so we're kind of changing some of this and saying, you know what, I'm going to, instead of doing the calibration or some of the lubrication services, I'm going to fix, regulate some of these pedals, do some of this. I'm actually going to do another tuning right here just because it's so bad. And if we think that that'll be good, and then we say in a month out, we can actually do what you were hoping to do, which is the signature service. So we'll say, I know you booked a signature service, but we hold kind of lightly what we do in that, whether it's the calibration, whether it's the lubrication, or maybe more tuning or cleaning work.
Yeah, I like one of my techs was scheduled for 2 hour, kind of like a regulation, right? And so he went in and he adjusted the blow distance and the jack to the knuckle, the rep lever height, the let off, the drop, and he lubricated the knuckle. He did everything he could, but he didn't get it all done in that time because that's all she wanted. So, I mean, she called back and she's like, I think I just still want to finish, so we're going to just book another couple hours. Yeah, we need another couple hours to just get it all. But he was able to pick and choose the most needed thing at the time for the time he had. And that is a tricky thing, but that's what makes you guys amazing as techs, is you're able to figure that out.
Yeah. Was that the Premiere one, Stacy?
No, this was a totally
okay.
She just wanted some regulation done on the piano, and I said, okay, let's give you, it could be like a 1 to 5. I don't know. I said, well, let's just book a couple hours and see, you don't know sometimes when you're on the other end. The fact that she said regulation made me go, well, something.
Yeah. Was that a repeat customer that was just, or was that was brand new?
No, this was someone who'd had their piano moved, and they were and I'd reached out hey, you'd moved your piano recently. Do you need a tuning? She's like, I actually don't need a tuning right now, but I actually need the touch adjusted. And I'm like, well, yeah, we do that. So that's kind of how that one went. That's kind of more rare, usually.
I was going to say something.
You're going to have me show the page.
I was going to have you show the services area, the tuning services. So if you scroll down a little bit, so this is kind of the level of what we're talking about doing. So when I look at this, if I scroll up a little bit, I see, what we did intentionally is obviously the signatures in the middle. We have above that, we have the 5 stars or 4 star, different stars. So it validates who we are right away. Say, okay, they have however many hundreds of reviews. Now I'm going to choose. I get to choose from this menu of 3 different offerings. The thing that I don't like in this, and we need to make note of this, Stacy, so we can have Andy work on it, is I do not like the spacing. And again, we're splitting hairs, but it's all psychology. We need to make it so that the customer does not have to scroll as far as they have to get to the signature. So right now it starts with that express tuning. We need to take up the spaces between so that they can move quicker and see that signature service. So if you scroll down, Stacy,
yeah,
we need that right there, the express tuning, to be shorter so that we get to the signature faster. And we need that signature service to somehow be more in bold, because it's all of those little cues that draws your eye. Just like Stacy brilliantly did in the Gazelle. When they go to the Gazelle thing, it's automatically selected and populated with the signature service. So it's that kind of stuff, that kind of psychology. Where do you want the customer to go? Where do you want their eyes to go? And right now, this is just saying signature, or excuse me, express. We need to make it quicker. We need to be able to have their eyes go down really quickly to see, wait a second, there's another offering that is drawing my attention more. So it's those kind of things that we as marketers, business owners, and people trying to run something the way we would like it to be run. Again, we want to present the options, but sometimes, and I would say most of the case, people don't know what they need.
Well said. That was fun. See, that's what it's like working with David Hayes. Like there's like, oh, like you're just constantly pivoting and fine tuning. And it's just like the funnest thing. I'm always like, oh yeah, we need to do that like right now. So yeah, it's fun.
It's not like she's making it sound like, oh, this is really nice, but I could only imagine. I would hate to work for me. It would be a call in the middle of the night. I really am not liking the way this font is on this one sentence. This is just, we need to change this. So.
Okay, but I was made for this because like I grew up going to like, I am all about experiences. Like, how does it feel? How does when you walk into a place, how is that customer experience? I grew up going to Disneyland, right? So I grew up like, how is this thing feeling to the people coming in? And, so, I mean, and that's what we're trying to create as an experience. We really are trying to give this experience to the customers that they're like, wow, what, this is awesome. Oh, I love it.
Well, did somebody have a question that somebody wrote? I thought I saw something in the chat.
Oh, can your tech sell add-on services on the spot? Yes, absolutely. Okay, Robert, I love this question because this is kind of what we're working on right now, right? Like if they like, let me show you. I'll show you. And like I said, this is real time, right? So
this is not like, fleshed out yet. This is
happening. So I'm gonna show you. Let's see if I can do my screen. Okay, I'm gonna share you guys this. Can you guys see this? This is Matt's schedule next week, right? And he's on vacation right now, so he's coming back on the 16th. But do you see there's like an express tuning here, and there's one here, and there's one here, and they're only 1 hour, but I actually gave him 2 hours because I need him to have that space in case he's like, hey, it actually needs more than that. So we're trying to give them the text, the space to like, at least like have a conversation about the piano.
And then also, and Stacey's doing a great job. She's like, I need to coach them. I need to, the day of, hey, you have this. I would love for you to kind of, all these pianos need these other services because nobody's done them. They've not done any lubrication. They've not done any calibration. They've not done any extra cleaning. So recommend whatever you think is the best. And to say, hey, this is what I have time to do. That's it.
That's all we're asking. Yeah.
And it's the nice thing is we had this conversation with the technicians and we're basically saying your fate is in your hands as far as if you want to do better work, less volume, higher quality, you can make it happen, but you have to make it happen. And so we're keeping them at 4 a day until they get used to and have proven, hey, no, I am following this protocol. I'm following the plan. It's working great. You get 3 a day, which to them is not a monetary raise, but a quality of life, work life raise.
It's how their day feels and flows. Because my 4 a day techs, they're so good. They're so amazing. But they are watching the clock most of the day, right? Like drive time. And I love Gazelle because it kind of like tells you how much you're driving, like where you need to be when, like it kind of sets it all out for you, but you still got to stay on track, or there's not much room. There's not a
No.
lot of room for like an emergency, or like it's pretty tight. It's pretty tight, but within that 8 hours it's pretty tight. So
Yeah.
this would allow just a little more like to not have that extra drive to another house, and not, that's kind of the vision we're kind of doing here. So,
Yeah.
and they love it. They were excited when we talked to them about it, that, oh, I don't have to like go through all these things. I can actually just like choose what actually is needed. Okay. Like they were kind of excited about that. So,
And that was a follow-up question. Can they customize a little bit of an add-on to where it's not just a lubrication or maybe just a calibration? They can, you know what, I need an extra hour here and I can do this because I see maybe some flanges that need adjusting. Maybe I see something over here that needs lubrication, and give me one extra hour. It's $100, and you may not do just a calibration, or you do what's needed in that hour. Do they have that flexibility?
Yeah, 100%. As the technician kind of going out in the field, that's exactly what I'm doing, because I'm very rarely ever doing the full calibration or full lubrication. I'm kind of mix and match. Maybe I'm doing this over here, and I'm just writing it out. The calibration services I did, the lubrication services I did, or the repair services I did in this one, in moving the appointment to a more signature, more expensive service. So yes, 100%, Robert. The technicians, though, I found work better when they just have at least a baseline. Here's some of the offerings. Here's what I can do. And basically, here's more things on the menu I can quickly choose from. And I'm allowed to charge more. I should charge more and do them at the time of service, and can, now that I have the time. Michael, what is your question?
Yeah, my question was, as you're getting the techs to transition over to this, it kind of sounds like you guys are trying to book the time out around the express tunings to give them that experience of the 1 hour add-on with those before you move them down to the 3 a day type thing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, Stacy and I were just talking about this last night. Stacy, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we had lots of options, right? Like one idea, because this is like real time, right? So we're like, okay, do we book? Do we just do it like normal? And if they add it on, we call those other customers, and like, because we have like a 1 hour window that we ask with our customers, do we bump them back? But I didn't love that idea, because I find that even talking to more than one tech about it, they're like, I'd rather have them spaced out more and go early to the next appointment than be late, because it's a mental thing for some people. Like, if the appointment was at 2, I really do want to be there at 2, most of them. But yeah, we were trying to space it out to just see what they do. And it's exactly what you said. And then eventually, if it's pretty predictable that it keeps happening that way, then I can, because we're trying to get a certain dollar amount a day too. And if I can predict that this will happen more often than not, then I can start scheduling it that way. So
yeah, there's this interim period that's going to be somewhat difficult, not only for us to work through, but for the technicians as well, where they may have to work a little bit extra time, because they're getting used to this new protocol. But again, they're investing in it now for the payoff to be more the life and the work that they want to do. And they all do want to do this. But what I imagine is eventually one of their 4 services a day is an express tuning. And so that's going to be the training ground for them to move into these other services. And if they tend to do this, even if they start doing it a couple times, in my mind, okay, they get it. If it never is happening, then it's not a failure on their part. It's like, okay, there's needs more education, more training, more empowerment to the tech. And so,
yeah, it's true, because one of my rebuilding techs, who's done hundreds of rebuilds, I can send her out into the field, and they always recommend more. They're always like, okay, it actually needs all this. And she always ends up selling packages. And it's just because she's so confident that she knows how to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're like, I am so good at piano cleaning and use every piano, and I actually know I'm good at it, and competence creates confidence to offer the service. So it really, if you're not confident to do it, then you're not gonna, it's probably because you just need to skill up, right? So we're looking at all that as well. But they see, we're still figuring it out.
Our goal is by really my goal and Stacy's goal as well is it would be great by September 1st, by the start of the busy season, to be in this whole new program with all the technicians doing 3 a day and being empowered and able to, and we're doing this. Again, this actually, if we can get these averages up organically or with this new program, we go from doing 4 a day to doing 3 a day, yet we get approximately 25% more income. 25%. That's crazy.
That's a big bump.
Huge.
Huge bump. And the numbers show that that's, if it works, that's literally how it works. And then, their day feels better. The quality of work is higher. We're changing the whole conversation of tuning to piano maintenance we're just like, there's so many benefits.
Well, look at it this way. If you have, in the middle of the day, an express tuning that you're able to bump up another hour's worth of work, and you are not taking a half-hour drive and a half-hour drive to the appointment afterwards, there's a half an hour of drive, an hour worth of drive time that you're eliminating, that you're putting towards services, is essentially what you're doing.
Yes.
100%. Exactly. It saves them. It could save a tech an hour a day or more, even like an hour, a whole hour. Oh, I just love that idea.
Yeah,
so
because you're changing an hour of drive time to an hour of service that you're charging for.
But this, to give you all some perspective, this is such a difficult and in a lot of ways terrifying experiment for Artisan, because we're not a company that has no expenses. We have a lot of expenses every month, and we have salaries, we have margins that we need to hit. So to say that, hey, we're going to go ahead and change our entire model, that in theory, if we're not hitting the numbers now that we would like at 4 a day, and we're going to cut 25% of that. So that's why there's been so much intensity. That's why we're doing a lot of these lives, because literally it's in our heads all the time. And what you all have been communicating and brainstorming this with us has been incredibly helpful. So thank you. Because this has been a stressful thing, and that's why it's taken 20 years to kind of do this.
But that's your whole premise that you've been working on over the past year, is a paradigm shift. And paradigm shifts are hard and stressful, but if you can make it out the other side, it's going to be that much better.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I was telling the technicians this, and this is true, that financially, yes, it is better, but my dream, because I was a technician, I worked for somebody, and I know what life as a technician is like, because I am that, and how hard it can be, and how stressful. And to be able to give our technicians really more income for less stress is what I would want. It's what I would want. And it would actually keep me at a company. It would not only make me want to stay at a company, but it would make me want to go work for that said company. And so I do think that this will also help fix a long-standing issue, which is finding technicians that are willing to come and be a part of Artisan in the different states. Because the reality is, if I could make this kind of money, technicians have two options. I'm either going to work for myself or I'm going to work for a company. Typically, if you're working for a company, one of our technicians worked for a company somewhat similar to ours on the East Coast. He was doing 6 a day, and he was still not making as much as we're paying. So to be able to be like, we're going to make it so every technician is doing 3 a day, making 50% to double what they're making elsewhere, either with another company or running their own business, that's a no-brainer. Plus they get to talk to Stacy and be coached and that's kind of the long-term play. And this is huge for that long-term, big vision, big picture. And we knew this 20 years ago, but we've never been able to do it.
Yeah, we want this to be a career where the techs can actually have like a really good quality of life, like where they have, like, Robert, you've been in the school industry, and that's what like made me so intrigued. I'm like, can we do this for techs, like where they have retirement and benefits, and like they could actually have a good, decent quality of life, and they're not working in a piano store for $15 an hour and never be able to buy a house. I just couldn't stand seeing that any longer.
Yeah.
So speaking of technicians and, eventually adding technicians on and stuff, you had an interview with a technician a few weeks ago. How did that go? I don't think I ever heard the answer to that.
He's
starting Monday.
Starting Monday. Yeah. He's moved down with his fiance. I think they're actually probably in a moving van right now.
They're moving in right now. And yeah, I did a few interviews. I filter him, but he's starting Monday.
He's starting Monday. And the fun thing about this technician is, we've had so many in the last 2 years, such a massive shift from, and we do say we were Artisan, and now we went from Artisan 2.0, we skipped 2.0, we went to 3.0 because it's so much of a massive change. So this is going to be our first technician that doesn't have all of that, what we used to be, how we used to do things, and it's just strictly, this is Artisan, this is Artisan. So we're excited about that, to be able to pour in, hey, this is the protocols, and not have to backtrack. Yeah, I know we used to do that, but we're changing that. No, it's just this. And so that's exciting. And
I got a weird phone call a few days ago, asked me if I was hiring any techs.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to hire myself right now.
Robert, you might be ready to jump. We can help you with that.
No, but in all seriousness, you all will get to the point where you're booked out a month, booked out 2 months, and need to evaluate this as a viable option. And again, maybe you're not there yet, but I think you all see that, hey, what we're trying to do here is going to help you in the future if you choose to do that, if you had other people working with you. But even now, just implementing some of this stuff, just like you've done with your websites, the branding, it makes a difference. And so this service offering is that kind of same thing.
You're keeping us changing our websites constantly now.
Welcome to my world, Robert.
But you have to, in a growth mindset, you have to be willing to let things go and just like try something new and be okay if it works or if it doesn't work, and just see what happens and collect the data. I mean, how else do you keep going?
Being from an IT background, it's kind of funny, the Agile or Kanban processes for software development, where you're willing to fail fast and then make changes on the fly and continue to make iterative changes. So that's essentially what you're doing. You're making iterative changes.
I love that.
Brilliant. Brilliantly said.
Willing to fail fast.
Yeah.
And fix. Yes.
Yeah. And that's how the guys over at Gazelle, how they develop software.
Yeah.
Is that they're willing to, and the other thing is you make things that are small changes. You don't look for something super big that you got to develop over a big, long time. Yeah. You might say that that's the overall program, but then you break it into small chunks that you can implement quickly, see how it does, and then change it. So, and that's exactly what you're doing.
Stacey, are you able to pull up that image that you made the other day that we're going to be giving all of our technicians? It was the calibration. So in that vein, Stacey and I are working. Stacey's working. She's coming up with this, but we want to simplify what we're telling the technicians to do so that they can memorize the script. Because when we don't need them to say this exactly word for word, but this is it. Just here, this is going to be a little graphic that they can have you know, and we might even print them out for them. Just like, here's your cue cards. Here's your cue cards. Okay. Upright action calibration. Here's how you really briefly talk about it. And here's kind of the settings for it. Just so that they have that at the top of their mind. They say, okay, easy. You know, maybe we laminate it for them.
I don't think they'll eventually they won't need it, but yeah, it's good to start with something, you know, just something to like, because it is we are asking them to pivot quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
If nothing else, give it to them as a PDF that they can print a copy to refer back to.
Yeah.
At a minimum. Yeah.
Well, next week we're going to be doing lubrication services. So we're going to do the upright lubrication service and the grand lubrication service, and I'm excited because we're going to be going over things that most people don't know. Oh, I mean, you know, once you see it, like, oh yeah, that should be lubricated, and here's how we do it. And so I'm excited about that because, again, you don't always have to do all these different lubrication points, but to know that what you, like what Robert said, you can pick and choose, and being, you know, having all these little tools that now you can pick and choose. Hey, you know what? I'm going to do the whip and heels and Teflon those today. Perfect. Great. Because last time I lubricated the knuckles. Those are still good. I'm going to do the whip and heels. Let's do that.
Can you add a little Q&A time in there just on technical things that we've experienced?
Yeah.
Just, you don't have to do a whole
absolutely
one, but
yeah, we need some of that. Yep.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. And then on the Friday, we'll go ahead and do a recap for the additional services. So Monday will be upright lubrication, Wednesday will be grand lubrication, and Friday will be a recap.
And next Friday our techs will have done a few, so we'll tell you how it's going too.
Yeah, Michael will be in paradise, surrounded by a myriad of piano technicians.
Yeah, so I fly out on Tuesday, so I'll be there for the Monday meeting. But
say hi to Michael and Adam for me.
Yeah, definitely will. Oh, so Adam's going to be out there, huh?
Yeah, he's going to be out there.
Oh, then I'll
say hi to Jonathan and Alan.
Yeah, I'll definitely set up time with Jonathan and Alan. So
if you win $10 million at a slot machine, don't leave us.
No, I just might buy myself a personal piano, but
All right, y'all. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks.